can do it for you. If he did it for me, he can do it for you. Get up, get up, get up, get up out of that grave. Get up, get up, get up, get up out of that grave. Get up, get up, get up, get up out of that grave. Get up, get up, get up, get up out of that grave. Get up, get up, get up, get up out of that grave. Get up, get up, get up, get up out of that grave. Get up, get up, get up, get up out of that grave. Get up, get up, get up, get up out of that grave. Get up, get up, get up, get up out of that grave. Get up, get up, get up, get up out of that grave. Get up, get up, get up, get up, get up, get up. If he did it for me, he can do it for you. If he did it for me, he can do it for you. If he did it for me, he can do it for you. The testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. That means what he did for another, he can do it again. That means what he did for another, he can do it again. The testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. It's the spirit of prophecy. It's the spirit of prophecy. That means what he did for another, he can do it again. That means what he did for another, he can do it. So we prophesy. Get up, get up, get up, get up out of that grave. Get up, get up, get up, get up out of that grave. Get up, get up, get up. Don't stay there. Get up out of that grave. Get up, get up, get up. Come on. Get up out and say, get up, get up, get up out of that. Get up, get up, get up out of that grave. Don't stay there. Yeah. Say get up, get up, get up, get up, get up out of that grave. Get up, get up, get up, get up out of that grave. Get up, get up, get up, get up out of that grave. Get up, get up, get up. He picked me up, turned me around, placed my feet on solid ground. I thank the Master, I thank the Savior, because he healed my heart, changed my name, forever free. I'm not the same. I thank the Master, I thank the Savior, I thank God. forget all of the great things you did. When did I throw away faith for the impossible? How did I start to believe you weren't sufficient for me? Why do I talk myself out of seeing miracles? You are more than able. You are more than able. You are more than able, yeah. We've seen it. You are more than able. Who am I to deny what the Lord can do? It's easy for you.
Now I see all that I have. Oh, I got my confidence back. I put my trust in the one who still does miracles. You do miracles. You are more than able. You are more than able.
We know it.
You are more than able.
We've seen it, we've seen it. We've seen it, we've seen it.
You are more than able.
Who am I to deny what the Lord can do?
Can you imagine, with all of the faith in the room, what the Lord can do? What the Lord can do? And it's gonna happen, just like the way make it through. He's gonna move. He's gonna move. But can you imagine, with all of the faith in the room, what the Lord can do? What the Lord can do, yeah. And it's gonna happen, just like the way make it through. He's gonna move. Yes, he's gonna move. And can you imagine, with all of the faith in the room, what the Lord can do? What the Lord can do, yeah. And it's gonna happen, just like the way make it through. He's gonna move. He's gonna move. Anything is possible.
Say it out.
Anything is possible. Anything is possible. Who am I to deny what the Lord can do?
Say anything.
Anything is possible.
We've seen it.
Anything is possible.
So we believe it.
Anything is possible. Who am I to deny
One more time.
what can do? Anything is possible. Anything is possible.
Anything.
Anything is possible. Who am I to deny what the Lord can do? Who am I to deny what the Lord can do? Who am I to deny what the Lord can do?
He still can do it. Still can do it. He's not run out of time yet. He still can do it. You are more than able. I've seen how you work. There's so much goodness and grace, much more than I deserve. 'Cause I know who I am, but I can't stay where I'm at. Oh, we've come this far by faith. Oh, yes, we have. And I just can't turn back. 'Cause he's not done with me yet. He's not done with me yet. Hey! There's so much more to the story. Hey! You're not done with me yet. You're not done with me yet. Hey! You're not done with me yet. No, no. There's so much more to the story. Come on. You're not done with me. Say, you're not done with me. Who am I to deny what the Lord can do? Who am I to deny what the Lord can do? God is more than able. Hey. God is more than able. God is. Don't stop believing right now. Don't quit believing right now. God is more than able. Who am I? You still can do it. Who am I to deny? Just 'cause I haven't seen it in my lifetime, that doesn't mean he can't do it. Who am I to deny what the Lord? Just 'cause it's not on my resume, or just 'cause I don't have it, doesn't mean he can't do it. Or who am I to deny? He can still do miracles with nothing. All it takes is nothing. All it takes is nothing. He can do a miracle. Who am I to deny what the Lord can do? He can do it.
Christ is my firm foundation, the rock on which I stand. When everything around me is shaking, I've never been more glad that I put my faith in Jesus. 'Cause he's never let me down. He's faithful through generations. So why would he fail now? He won't. He won't. I've still got joy in chaos. I've got peace that makes
hello. Wow. Go ahead and have a seat real quick on the floor, please, in the front here. We will not. Wow, this is hot, man. I wonder if I get like a headset that I could wear right here and just click it in and I don't have to carry it around. Welcome to Teen Life. Yeah. So excited to see your faces again. If this is your first time, welcome. If this is your 100th time, welcome. We are so glad all of you are here. We all love you, and you all love us. Okay, so a couple announcements. Number one, next week, we're going to help with the clothes closet setup. Do you remember last week when we helped put up chairs and people chucked bins at each other's heads and ran around here wild? We're going to do the same thing next week after small group. We're going to help set up tables, and we're going to be putting bins out and stuff like that. So, remind me next week that, and I'll remind you, then you remind me. Number two, Sunday school in room 114 at 9:45, 8:45. Yeah, come to Sunday school. It's fun. We play games, have a lesson, and then play games, hang out, get to know each other. So I'd love to see you Sunday morning at 8:45 in room 114. If you don't know where that is, me either. You just go down the hall and look for the door that says 114 on it. All right, now we're going to have a special announcement from Samantha.
Hello. So I wanted to share with you guys a couple of opportunities that you can have to serve at the church. On Sunday mornings, we have 3 children's ministries, and we're looking for workers. The first is the nursery. So if you really enjoy babies and kids under the age of 2, I don't know how many of you know Shelby Furnett, but she's looking for some teens to fill in some spots on Sunday morning during the second service. It's just one Sunday a month. So if you're free and you're like, hey, I think I'd like to try that, to reach out to her, we have a email address. It's called nursery@mvbc.org. So you can just reach out to her, or you can come talk to me afterwards. The second is we just started a class for toddlers. It's a 2-year-old class. So maybe you're a teenage guy and you're like, babies, or, they might spit up on me. But maybe you really like hanging out with like Alexander Bushak. Okay, he's 2. He's a pretty awesome kid. They have started a class for them, and they're looking for people. At this point, it's one husband and wife that are doing every single Sunday, and we're praying that God will provide people to fill those in. And so, again, it's one Sunday a month, and it would be awesome for a teen to be in there with a couple of adults, or a couple of teens and an adult. So if you really like kids that are a little bit older than babies, they go from 2 to 3. And if you want to reach out to them, it's toddlers@MVBC, or you can come talk to me about it. And the Capolas, I don't know if you know Mr. and Mrs. Capola, are in charge of that right now. The third opportunity that we have for ministering is that we have a children's church during the second hour. And there's an older kids, which I know some of you guys work in, but we actually have a preschool one that is for 3, 4, and sometimes 5-year-olds. And so they have a rotation that is different teams. I know that Lily works in there with her mom. And so we need some teen helpers in there. We generally have between 10 and 12 children. And it's another awesome opportunity. So maybe you don't really like 2-year-olds because maybe they're hard to understand. But by 3, 4, and 5, they are able to talk. They can use the bathroom by themselves, like all that type of stuff. It's awesome. It's so much easier. So maybe you want to work with there. Or maybe you're like, I have no idea. I've never worked with kids. Come and try it. So you can reach out to me, that Sunday school, at mvbc.org, or just come talk to me afterwards or on Sunday, because we'd love to get you connected into a spot that you can serve. Thanks, guys.
Another announcement, just remembered, if you're in Tabitha's group, you're with Miss Kirsten tonight. Again, if you have Tabitha as your small group leader, you are with Miss Kirsten. All right, if everybody could grab a chair and get into a circle. Don't make it too big of a circle. Make it a circle. Make sure you grab a chair. Chair, not a beanbag. A chair. A chair. Plastic black chair. Yes, I'm looking at you. A plastic chair. Make sure everybody's included in the circle. Let's not make it awkward. Make sure you include everybody. You have to make the circle a little bit bigger. It's okay. Oh, oh. All right. You want to make sure you're in a single file circle, not in behind somebody. So tonight we're going to try a game. I've never played it. It may be super cool or not super cool. We will be the judge. It's called Silent Speedball. Okay? We're going to use this ball. All right, I'll make sure everybody is settled before I give the rules because I feel like people are going to be like, what? Okay. So silent speedball. You can only hold the ball for 2 seconds, and then you have to pass to somebody. If you throw it at somebody and it bounces off them and hits the ground, they are out. If you chuck it 15 feet above their head and they cannot catch it, you are out. Okay? So we're going to, once you're out, grab your chair and go off to the side behind the circle. What's up? I don't know going that. The next thing is, you can only, like I said, only for 2 seconds you can hold the ball. You have to throw it. And if the person can't catch it because you threw a bad pass, you're out. If they hit off their face or something because they can't catch, then they are out. Does everybody understand the rules? There's one big thing. You cannot talk. That's why it's called silent. So we're going to play this game, and hopefully it's fun. If not, we will never do this again. So I will start with this guy right here. All right, go ahead and throw it to somebody. One Mississippi. You got to throw it within 2 seconds. Yeah, once you get, there you go. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Oh, did you touch it? You're out, Lucy. Good try. Go ahead, keep going. This should be fast moving. Oh. Wow. Oh, wow. Is it the volleyball is easier? We can try volleyball. I don't know if this. I just don't want. Wow. No, well, I don't. Are we using the volleyball or not? Okay, here you go. If you get a broken nose, remember I tried the nice, gentle, squishy ball. Wow, this is going to end badly. I think that'd be out. People don't catch with their feet. I'm sorry. No. Whoever threw that, you cannot throw it at someone's foot. People don't catch with their feet, their hands. Oh, if it hit you in the chest, you're out. If it hits you at all, you're out. Oh, good try. You're out, Tim. Let's not break the worship stuff. Oh, Georgia, nice try. We're going to play for a couple more minutes. Make the circle smaller if you can. Yeah, nice, good try. He's out. Wow. He grabbed it like a gorilla. Oh, you both are out because you moved. Good try. Thank you, ladies. You have to at least try to grab it. Oh, good save. Oh, good try, Kyler. Hey, there's no talking. Shh. No talking. Oh, good try. Oh, good try. No, Jed, you're out. Unless, I don't know. That was tough. Okay. All right, you're out, Yancey. All right, move in smaller, please. Smaller. If you hit the pole, you're out. So if you hit the pole with the ball and it smashes someone in the face, you're still out. Wow. Oh, good try. No talking. Oh, ladies, you're both out. I will pass it gently in. Oh, good job, guys. Okay, make the smaller group. Small group. Hold the ball for a second. Hold the ball. Hold the ball. Make it smaller. Watch the pole. Watch the pole. Oh. Ah. E. Oh. Bear man's out. Oh. Max. Oh. You're out. 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes. You're out. Sorry. I know some people catch with their kneecaps. Oh. Yeah, Ross, you can't check at someone's head. Yes, 1 more minute. Let's see who's more of, women or men's is after. Oh, that's out. Sorry. You touch with your hands. If you touch, oh, did you? Well, sorry. You got to at least try to put your hands up. The ball's coming at your head. Oh, what a... All right. Okay. Hold on. Let's see. Was there more of men's or women's? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, women win. All right. Let's get in our seats like we normally do. But we need to have a row. So, Dan, where do they need to not block? Hello? Okay. Do not sit in front of the camera. So right here, I need a nice 4 or 5 foot gap from the camera. Yeah. I want the whole camera to get all of this. All right. While you're getting settled, I'm going to call up I don't see her. There she is. Lydia!
What month is it? Yeah, if you were born in this month, get up here now. Is that literally nobody? Oh. Come on, September. Anybody else born in the month of September? Yeah. 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 Okay, last chance. If you're born in September, get up here. All right, okay. We need 3 questions. Josh, you raising your hand? We need 3 questions. Yes. What? What? Favorite tank, yay or nay? I heard nothing. Questions. Really? Favorite subject in school, yay or nay? Yay! I'm not sure. Someone pick nay. Okay, Josh. Favorite sport, yay or nay? Yay! Yay! Favorite drink, yay or nay? Yay! One more. Yay or nay? Yay. Okay, I don't remember them. Say your name, what day you're turning what age, and answer all 3 of those questions.
I am Warwick. I turned 15 on the 13th. What were they again? Favorite place to eat? Skyline. Favorite drink? Ginger beer. Favorite sport? Very funny. Either soccer or football.
I'm Braden. I turned 16 on the 19th, which was 2 days ago. And then, what are the questions? Favorite drink? Favorite drink is root beer. Favorite sport is soccer. Wendy's.
I'm Paul. On September 13th, I turned 60. And thank you. Favorite drink would be root beer, seconded by coffee. Favorite restaurant would be any Greasy Spoon breakfast hole in the wall. And what would be number 3 again? Favorite sport would be ice hockey.
Hi, I'm Freslin. I turned 15 on September 3rd. My favorite place to eat is Chick-fil-A. My favorite sport is volleyball. My favorite drink is chocolate.
Okay, give it up again for September birthdays. Again. Woo! I don't know what to do.
Jesus, there's no one beside you. Forever the hope in my heart. To be like you, give all I have just for you. Jesus, there's no one beside you. Forever the hope in my heart. You can all be seated.
All right. Thank you, worship team. Awesome to see you guys up there. All right. So, tonight we're going to be talking about best friends. How many in here, without looking at the screen and are distracted? Perfect. We're talking about true friends, best friends. How many in here, raise your hand, would say, I have a best friend? And it's okay. If you want to raise it so you don't get left out, it's okay. How many of you would say you have several best friends? Okay. Here's a vote. Raise your hand if you believe that you can only have one true best friend. Raise your hand. It's not a trick. I'm not going to, okay? So you all raise your hand right now. You think you could only have one best friend, right? Okay. I agree with you. That's how I was raised, that you had one best friend. My daughter has like 1,000 best friends. She'll be like, Dad, so-and-so is my best friend. And I'm like, oh, cool. The next, she's like, Dad, so-and-so is my best friend. And I was like, did you like vote her off the island and bring someone new on? And she's like, no, I have like several best friends. And I'm like, you can't have several. You have to have one. That's how I think of it. Anyways, that was a side note. So tonight we're going to be talking about true friends. Sweet, it worked. So the big idea for tonight is the best friends push you towards Jesus. The best friends push you towards Jesus. Can someone tell us about a time when a friend helped you out? By the raising your paw in the air, I will call upon you. Does someone have a time or a story that a friend helped you out? And please make it appropriate. Sometimes youth ministry, you never know. Oh, yes, Georgia. Okay, awesome. Sorry, Warwick. You're just a friend. Anybody else? Yes. Okay, good. Jesus' friend helped him out. Somebody else. A time when your friend helped. Yes. Okay. Anybody else? A story about how a friend helped you out. We're not going to leave until I get one more hand. I have a quote I have to fill. Pastor Greg said, you must have 6 people raise their hands. Someone, please. Thank you. Awesome. Cool. All right. What happened? Why aren't you working anymore? All right, I guess go to the next slide for me. Okay. The first time, some of you are laughing, I don't know why. Huh? Okay, easy. It's all of our dads, okay? Shh. Some of you in here are like, what is going on? Why is these kids randomly yelling? Yes, Brad and Todd Wilkins do have some kids in this room and a sibling. So, the first time I met Brad and Todd, I would say was my freshman year in high school, and we're outside the, outside the chapel, and my youth pastor came up and he's like, hey, Jared, there's these two guys I want you to meet. And I was like, all right, cool. And I've already seen him in youth group. And he introduces, like, this is Brad and Todd Wilkins. And I was like, hey. And it's that awkward stage, you're like, hey. Cool. Yeah. And he had one of them had a basketball shirt. I'm like, you like basketball? They're like, yeah. I was like, me too. Yeah. And it was super awkward. So then we started hanging out together, and we became good friends. And they were my bestest friends, but they were like together. They're like twins, but they're separate. So it's okay that I called them my best friends, because I did say I only can have one best friend. But since they were so close as brothers, I counted them as one. So we're going to look at some verses. I'm just going to have you do it, Caleb, because I'm going to rage here. Okay, let's look at some passages that will help us pick out a godly friend, okay? So let's go to the next slide. Hebrews 3:12 and 13. Take care, brothers, lest there be any of you an evil, unbelieving heart, leading you to fall away from the living God. But exhort or encourage one another every day, as long as it's called today. And that none of you may be hardened by the deceitfulness of sin. So this verse is telling us to exhort, encourage each other. So a good best friend is going to encourage you, exhort you, right? A best friend's not going to be like, oh, you know what? You should just give up on life. Totally. Like, that's what you should do. You should just stop. Or you should totally drop out of school. That would be the best idea, right? That would not be a good friend for you to have, correct? Right. Good. So we're on the same page here. So, and also it says exhort, encourage people called today. So every day. So the day that you're alive and you're here, you should be encouraging your friends. Okay? Why are we encouraging them? So, thank you. Because we have to be careful, because lest there be any of you an evil, unbelieving heart leading you to fall away from the living God. So we can get ourselves into trouble. But if we have friends there to encourage us to stay away from these things, then that is a good thing. So go ahead and go to the next slide. Sin will try to lie to you about the happiness you can find outside of God. So as I stand up here, I want to let you know that I am not perfect. I know none of you are like, seriously? Oh my word, I thought you were perfect. I'm not. I made a lot of dumb mistakes at your age. So if I can come up here and encourage you guys not to make these mistakes, so you don't have to go through a lot of stupid things and mistakes and heartache and difficult decisions, that is my goal as a student, person, helper, director. That's why I went into youth ministry, to help students, because my youth pastor is a huge help in my life. So sin will try to lie to you about happiness you can find outside. Right? So we think about some things that we can look into, like maybe it's money. We can look and say, oh, all I do is want to make all this money, and that will make me truly happy. If I can just make this much more, this will make me happy. Or maybe it's popularity. Maybe you're like, oh, I just wish more people liked me, and then I'd be happy. And then we keep going towards this thing. Oh, but you know what? I know I just made $1 more an hour, but if I just made $1 more an hour more, I'll truly be happy. How many of you Christmas, raise your hand, asked your parents for a summer Christmas, and you're all excited, and like a month later, you're like, don't even use it anymore. Raise your hand. Ooh. Yeah, that was me. So we get all this stuff, and we think that's going to make us truly happy, but it doesn't. So when we have good friends who encourage us not to follow things like sin that's going to get us into that trouble or get us to where there's not true happiness. So we want to encourage each other not to follow that sin. Next slide, please. Whenever I knew I was doing something sinful, I would distance myself from Brad and Todd. I don't know if that's some of you in here or not. Obviously, I'm not like, raise your hand if you're in sin. Like, I'm not going to ask that. But I know every time that I'd get into some type of sin or trouble, I would distance myself from Brad and Todd. Could anybody tell me why? It's not a trick question. Yes. That's a good guess. No, but that's a good guess. You're not wrong. Molly? Okay, good. I don't know. I don't want them to know what I'm doing. Warwick? Felt guilty. Okay, yep. Okay, yeah. Correct. Absolutely. All those are right answers. Because I knew what I was doing was wrong. And if I talked to Brad and Todd and said, hey, this is what's going on in my life, it's like, what are you doing? Like, you know better than that. So if I didn't go around them, I didn't have to worry about feeling guilty that they'd call my sins out. So a real friend, someone that's really there for you, is going to say something like, hey, what are you doing? Like, you know better than that. But sometimes we're afraid to say something, right? Like, oh, I don't want to hurt my friend's feeling because, you know, if I say something, then they won't be my friend. Well, guess what? If they stop being your friend because you say something, then they're not a real friend. So 100%, I took the blame on myself. When I put this, I do not blame Brad and Todd. It was me. I made sure I was distant from them because I knew they would encourage me to do what's right. They'd make me feel guilty because I was doing wrong things. So some of you maybe in this room, that's where you're at right now. You're distancing yourself from good friends because you know you're in the sin and you don't want to get out of the sin. Because if I don't feel guilty about this sin, I can continue, right? I mean, obviously, that is wrong. But I just encourage you tonight, if you're in that situation where you know what you're doing is wrong and you're distancing yourself from friends or you're not going to church because you feel guilty, don't be in that scenario. I've been there many times before, and it's difficult. I got myself in a lot of trouble. That's like when my daughter's like, Dad, what age can I date? And I'm like, 100? I don't know. Maybe never. Because I had a lot of heartache when it came to dating when I was your age. This is not about dating. I'm not going in that road. I'm just telling you. I distanced myself from my good friends because I knew they were going to keep me accountable, and I didn't want that. Next slide, please. We need friends to help us not be deceived by sin. So you tell your friends, like, hey, man, I was thinking about this. Like, I'm going to skip every single Wednesday night and Sunday because obviously I'm not in school. I'm going to start working, get lots of money. And your friend's like, well, why would you skip church? Church is more important. Well, I know it's important, but I need more money. I need money for this. I need money for that. I need the Xbox 17. I need the new PlayStation 26. I need a new Honda 92 Civic. All this stuff you're like, I want this. I want this. We need friends to help you not be deceived by sin. Maybe it's like, hey, I want to do this. I want to date this girl and this. And like, well, be careful. Like, don't go down that road because you're not going to end in a good place. So we need friends to help us not be deceived by sin. Because a lot of times sin just says, hey, just a little bit over here. It's okay. I mean, you're not way over there. You're just right here. It's okay. And you're like, all right, yeah, it's not a big deal. You're like, hey, a little bit over this way. Come here. It's okay. Don't worry about it. You're safe. I mean, look how far you were from here. And again, sin is going to try to deceive us. Next, please. So we talked about what godly friends do. They exhort or encourage us to do what's right. So again, tonight, if you have friends that you consider best friends, are you keeping them accountable? Are you encouraging them to do what's right? Or you're like, I don't want to say anything because I don't want to be that guy. That's like, let me tell you a quick story. Way back in the youth group time, we used to have Sunday school, and we'd go over to McDonald's and have Sunday school in the bottom of McDonald's. It was pretty cool. And I remember one time I said something, and this other kid's like, hey, man, what would Jesus do? And I was like, dude, you're such a nerd. Like, who says that? What would Jesus do? And I remember mocking the kid. And as I thought about it after, he was trying to help me. He was like, hey, man, what are you doing? That's like, why would you do that? What would Jesus do? And I remember making fun of that kid because I thought he was a nerd for saying that, but he was being a good, encouraging friend. For those of you, it was Barney Schwanke. He's a pastor. I guess he knew what he was doing. Okay. So again, remember, encourage your friends. Next slide, please. When friends allow you to focus on earthly things, do you think that's a good thing or a bad thing? Raise your hand if it's a good thing that your friends let you focus on earthly things. Okay. Raise your hand if you think that's a bad thing. Okay, it's a split. Good job. Let's go to the next verse, please. Matthew 16:21. This is talking about Jesus sitting down with disciples, and he's talking to them. He's telling what's going to happen in the future. He's going to die. He's going to, go on the cross. He's going to die for the sins. He's going to come back 3 days later. He's explaining this to his disciples. Excuse me. And it says, from the time Jesus began to show his disciples, we must go to Jerusalem and suffer many things from the elders and chief priests and scribes and be killed, on the third day be raised. And Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him, saying, far be from you, Lord. This shall never happen to you. But then he turned to Peter and said, get behind me, Satan. You are a hindrance to me, for you are not setting your mind on things of God, but on things of man. So Peter's like, Jesus, what are you doing? Why would you follow this plan? This is crazy. Why would you die? No, you're not going to do this. You should do something different. Like, don't follow this plan, because if you're going to die, that is bad. And Jesus tells him, get behind me, Satan, because Peter was thinking on earthly things. He was not thinking, well, maybe this is what God has called this for Jesus in his life. So next slide, please. Peter is focused on earthly things. God has a plan for your life. So when you tell your friends, like, hey, I feel like this is what I'm called to do, or I think I want to do this, are your friends encourage you like, yes, you need to follow what God wants in your life? Are they just like, you know what, no. Why would you want to be a pastor? That's not much money. Why would you want to be a missionary? Why would you want to do that? That makes zero sense. How many followers do missionaries get on Instagram? I mean, who knows? Do they get a lot? Thank you, Warwick. I didn't know. So there's these different things that people could be focused on earthly things. I like to tell stories. When me and my wife decided to go to Texas so I could go to school to study youth ministries, I told someone who I respected very, very well in my life. And I said, hey, listen, it wasn't Brad and Todd. Don't worry. So everybody go like, oh, I thought you were good friends, Brad and Todd. We're a lot of Jared. It wasn't Brad and Todd. And I told them, I was like, this is my plan. I feel like God is calling me to go to Texas to study youth ministry. And the person's like, I mean, I don't know. I think you should stay here and you should work here and kind of do this. And I'm like, well, I really feel like God's calling me to move to Texas to study youth ministry. And this person's like, yeah, but why don't you just stay here? Alyssa can continue working in the church and you can kind of take classes that, and do a couple things here and there, and just, why don't you stay where you are? And I was like, but I feel like God's calling me to do something else, and you should be encouraging me to do that. So be careful when you tell people God's plan in your life. Are your best friends encouraging you to follow after God, or they're trying to encourage you to do earthly things, as Peter did with Jesus? Peter thought he was being a good friend, like, no, Jesus, don't do that. We don't want you to die. But God called, wow, a lot of names here. God called Jesus to follow his plan. And Peter was Peter was getting in the way. Next. Thank you. What happens when life what happens when things get difficult in life? Right? We all have difficulty in our lives, right? Nobody here can say like, no, I've never had a difficult thing happen in my life. What happens when things get hard? Sometimes people disappear because they don't want to deal with hard things, or they don't know what to say. Please go to the verse. Next slide. So I'm not going to read word for word because there's some words in here I don't know how to say, but I'm going to give you the gist of it. So we know David is hiding from Saul because Saul was trying to kill him. Because Saul was king, and David became over all the armies. And as David got more popularity, people liked David more, Saul got jealous. And he was like, you know what? I can fix this. I'm going to kill David. So he starts to try to kill David. So David takes off. He goes out in the wilderness and he hides. He hides from Saul. And he's out there. So you can imagine how difficult this is. Imagine right now if you had to go hide out in the woods because someone's trying to kill you. It'd be difficult, right? So maybe there's something in your life that you're going through right now. You're like, I kind of relate because what I'm going through right now, I feel alone. I feel like I'm out in the middle of the wilderness and I'm going through this all by myself. I feel like no one's here to help me. So then it says, excuse me. And then it says Jonathan, which is Saul's son, mind you. So Saul is trying to kill David. Saul's son's friend was David. And so Jonathan goes to David in the woods, and it says, and Jonathan, Saul's son, rose and went to David at Horsha and encouraged his hand in faith in God. And he said to him, do not fear, for the hand of Saul my father shall not find you. You shall be king over Israel, and I shall be next to you. Saul my father also knows this, and the two of them made a covenant before the Lord. David remained in Horsha, and Jonathan went home. So David's out in the middle of the woods, alone. Maybe he's scared. I don't know. I'm not there, but I'm sure there's some type of emotion. And Jonathan risked his life to go out to David, and he's like, hey, I just want to encourage you to keep following after God. What you're doing is right. I know my dad's going to try to kill you. He's not going to kill you, but I just want to encourage you to keep seeking after the Lord. You got this. I'm here for you. And he encourages David. And it says, encourages him in his faith. Don't give up on God. That's huge. Jonathan, again, I said, put his life on the line to go meet David in the woods and talk to him. Next slide. A godly friend will not be afraid to go in the trenches with you. Some of you in this room, like I said earlier, maybe you're going through a very difficult time and you wish you had a friend to go there. You're like, man, I wish I was David and had someone come tell me to not give up. A real friend goes in the trenches with you and lives life with you and helps you. It's important. So if you are saying to someone, I'm your best friend, some of you may say, I'm your ride or die, all these things. When tough, difficult times come in, are you going with them through those difficult times? Are you encouraging them to keep seeking after God? Or are you just like, hey, when you get over your thing, give me a call, let me know. Like, I don't really want to help you through this. A real friend is going to be like, you know what? I may not understand what you're going through. I may not understand why you're going through this, but I'm going to go with you and I'm going to encourage you through the way. Right? Everybody in here wants a friend like that. If I asked you, raise your hand if you'd like a friend that's going to be there all the time for you, not give up on you, give you godly advice, you'd say, yes, please, can I have that as a friend? I would too. And that's what Brad and Todd were to me. And that's why when I got into sin, I was like, ooh, let's not get near them because they're going to tell me what I'm doing wrong, and I don't want to know that right now. They definitely went in the trenches with me when I went through difficult times. Even now as an adult. It's not like once I became a man, they're like, okay, you're on your own. Continue your journey without, we all still hang out, talk. Next slide, please. A godly friend pushes you towards God. I know that sounds simple, like, oh, duh. But if you are being a good friend to someone, are you pushing them towards God? That's the big thing I want you to focus on tonight. Are the friends around you, are they pushing you towards God? Or are they pushing you to earthly things? Maybe you should think about having different people as friends. If you want, go ahead and throw me on the bus. I'm sorry. My student youth director told me that I can't be friends with you. So I'm going to have to, head out. Thanks for the many years you were there. But pick good, godly friends that are going to be there, encourage you. They're going to go difficult times, and they're going to push you towards Christ. And now this word right here, push, is not like a, go ahead. It's like push, like aggressive. Like a real friend's going to push you towards God. Like, keep going. Do the right thing. Next slide, please. So the challenge for tonight, there's 3. Be a best friend to somebody this week. Be that person for those people in your life. Those people you're quoting to be best friends with. And then maybe you say, well, it's kind of hard because they're not saved. Okay? Tell your friends about Jesus. It's going to be tough. I know, I've been there. When my youth pastor said to me, invite your friends, and I'm like, okay, I might not, because I was embarrassed or I was afraid to ask them to come to church. Tell your friends about Jesus. Just like somebody told you guys about Jesus. And then the last thing, encourage them maybe to turn back to God. Maybe you're that friend, you have someone's going through a difficult time. Encourage them like, hey, listen, I know maybe I've not been the best of friend, but you need to do what's right in your life. You know what's right. How can I help you turn back to God? How can I help you in your life get things back in order? Okay? I believe the last slide is that it? Okay. If I can everybody bow your head, please. And have the praise team please come up. So I'm going to have the youth staff looking, just so I'm going to be open and honest with you, because some people, I just want you to know, the youth staff are going to be looking, okay? But tonight, as you're sitting here, and you're hearing me speak about what it is to be a best friend and how to push friends to godly, if tonight, if you're sitting here, and you're like, I wish I had someone like that in my life to push me towards God, would you raise your hand? All heads bowed, eyes, nobody but you staff looking around. Okay. Put your hands down. If tonight you're sitting and you're like, you know what? I wish I could turn away from the things maybe you're involved in something, in some type of sin, and you know it's wrong, and you're like me, you're hiding away from your good godly friends. How many of you tonight would raise your hand and would say, I'm in a situation, I know I need to stop. Can you please pray for me? Again, the youth staff are looking. So maybe tonight you're in a situation, you need to stop, but you're afraid or don't know what to do. Okay, thank you. I'm going to pray, and then the praise team is going to take over. Heavenly Father, thank you so much for tonight. Thank you for each one of these students and their honesty and their listening and paying attention, Lord. I just pray that we'd all be encouraged tonight to be a good, godly friend to someone, Lord. And I just pray that there's students in here that are struggling, Lord, that they'd reach out to maybe one of the youth staff or a good friend they have here, Lord, and they just get things right in their life. In Jesus' name, amen.
Let's all stand.
Rescued me. Oh,
God for just bringing us all here together for another night. And I just pray that we'll have an awesome discussion in our groups tonight. Amen.